under Code Ray.
You don't have to answer that question.
You want ice cream?
I want the truth.
I can't handle the truth.
Kash Patel, you have been a prosecutor for the Department of Justice. Gotta let you know, I've never seen anything like this in my life. Now, maybe you have. Maybe there was an attorney, some scum. I mean, this guy's such a greasebag. Give me a photo of Chris Clark. This guy's such a dirty greasebag. This guy he physically looks like a rat, like a fat New York rat. This guy is apparently going to people like you in your position and being like, and you're supposed to be the toughest there is. The Department of Justice prosecutors are supposed to be the toughest, most muscular prosecutors on earth, and going, oh, you don't want to do this. It'll be career suicide. You don't want to charge my criminal client. It's career suicide because he's an important person. Would that have worked on you? Are you shocked that that worked on the Department of Justice prosecutors? Are you ashamed for your career? Like for these guys? Will they ever recover from this?
All of the above. Look, I suited up in my government gangsters outfit today because I knew this one was going to be a heater, and that's why I figured the Chai Comps blew up your program. Yeah. We're going to dive all into this. So, yeah, I am, as a former national security prosecutor at DOJ, I am not offended. I am disgusted at the schleps over there that are rolling around in their two-tier system of justice. Let's just outline these facts. We're just talking about this goober of a defense attorney. And as a former public defender, not that I like this guy, but I can appreciate him going to bat for his client. Hey. That I get. The guy's doing, it's not kosher, it's not ethical, it's not legal, but he's going to bat for his client. So as Hunter, you'd probably want a guy like that. But when you leverage your contacts at DOJ, I mean, I know that if I ever went there as a public defender and I said, hey, I'm going to cause a constitutional crisis if you charge my client with X, so maybe don't do it. Do you know what that is? That's obstruction of justice. That's a federal offense. You can't do that as an attorney, and you can't leverage the strongest position on God's green earth, the commander-in-chief seat, which is what they did. They said quietly, and remember, as your audience knows, this didn't just happen. This happened months ago. We just found out about it because the letter actually leaked. And so they have been cooking up this scheme before the sweetheart plea deal even came about. And now we have DOJ lawyers who are going to be, and this is what Trump's attorney should do, partly in his case, is pin all the lawyers against each other. They'll flip. They'll crumble. They're weak-kneed. Like you said, this guy, he'll never want to go to prison. But it's just shocking that you can leverage the full force of the United States government against the Department of Justice that are independent, according to Merrick Garland and Joe Biden, and then come up with this sweetheart plea deal, watch it implode, and it's not a coincidence that this letter's leaking now. And it's leaking not from the DOJ, from Hunter Biden's camp.
Yeah.
They want to go after the DOJ like we've been going after the DOJ.
What? It's crazy. So this is Hunter Biden's attorney leaking these documents to make the DOJ look bad. Am I wrong?
Because it sounds cool in the fake news mafia. Oh, constitutional crisis. Joe Biden might testify. Whoa, we can't have that. But if Donald Trump were president, he had to testify. He's got to testify everywhere, no matter what. But we are seeing the two-tier system of justice at play. Can you imagine the defense, his dad and his son on the same side of the defense table in a federal courtroom, and the guy goes up on the witness stand for cross-examination? I mean, what a freaking circus that would be. The amount of felonies Joe Biden would commit by lying under oath, which is yet another offense, would be catastrophic. And this is what the defense attorney in this case is looking to ward off, because he knows under no situation will their boss, Merrick Garland, allow Joe Biden to take the witness stand. So now he's going full force. Look, I always said the corruption at the DOJ and the FBI at the leadership's level was more disgusting than any other agency anywhere. And the only way you defeat them is if you embarrass them publicly. And Chris Clark, to his credit, that is exactly what he's doing. He's saying, on the one hand, you reneged on a deal, which is not true. There is no deal until a judge signs off on it. The DOJ can renege on the 99th yard line. There is no deal. So that never happened. That's a falsehood. And now they're trying to shame them into saying, oh, well, the DOJ is the one that's going to cause a constitutional crisis. Not Hunter Biden and his illegality and his fraud scheme and his pay for play, his drug use, his gun use, all the photos on his laptop of underage girls. None of that. It's the DOJ and the FBI that are going to cause the illegality. That's the one trigger you can't pull, even if you're Hunter Biden's attorneys, because they will bite back. And I think this is going to boomerang.
Okay, so game theory that for us. I mean, again, we're so excited to have you on the show because you're the perfect person to talk about this. I've never seen anything like it. So I'm reading the emails, my jaw's on the floor. Like,
yeah,
this is this is his lawyer talking to the federal government about a federal charge, saying this is career suicide. You're screwed. We'll call Joe Biden. Like, did anyone ever treat you like that, Kash?
Yeah, the Jan 6 committee, the special counsel. Every time you're a target and we get a subpoena, yeah, we get treated like that, but no one ever finds out about it. The death threats, no one cares about that. None of that matters if it happens to us, America First conservatives. They don't only care if it happens to Joe Biden and Hunter
But when
Biden.
you were a federal prosecutor,
yeah,
would anyone have dared talk to you like that?
No, because as bad as your defendant might be, and whatever, even terrorists that I prosecuted, even those guys aren't going to come in there and be like, you're going to get blown up by my defendant's colleagues if you don't make this case go away. I mean, that's essential. No, that's the analogy here.
Yes.
You know who's more powerful than a terrorist? The president of the United States.
Yes.
And they're saying, I'm going to use daddy's button to blow up your Department of Justice where Merrick Garland, your boss, works for my client's dad.
Wow.
This never happens. And it goes back to the one point. All of these government gangsters will always cooperate together unless you reach one inflection point. And that is if you can successfully pit the interests of the DOJ and FBI against each other. And that is what the whistleblowers have kind of been doing for these months and months and months and months. Now you add these emails and the DOJ is made to look like the evil, disgusting, corrupt government gangsters that they are. And publicly, the people at the top, Garland, will not tolerate that. Now, I don't know how they goose this thing. I don't think there's a plea deal on planet Earth that can be salvaged from this wreckage. I think Hunter Biden's got to go to trial. It'll be funny. And I'll call it right now. There's no way this guy goes to trial before the next election cycle. They will kick this thing down for 4 years and no one will even remember it. But Donald Trump, he's got to go to trial next week. This is just, America is going to see this for what it is. And I think the Trump campaign has seized on it brilliantly by saying, look, where's Chris Wallace, by the way? Do you remember that goober on Fox News when the presidential debates happened with Biden and Trump asked about Hunter Biden's laptop and Chris Wallace shut him down and called it disinformation and said, you cannot contest that line of fact because it didn't happen? This is what half of America thinks. That's the problem. It goes back to the original sin. No one was allowed to actually talk about Hunter Biden's laptop and the crimes related to it. And now Hunter Biden is charged or going to be charged again in federal court. And what are those people saying? Now that this is some government conspiracy ginned up by Donald Trump, the amount of people in the middle that are coming over to our side of the house because they are sick and tired of this two-tier system of justice is monumental. And the DOJ is going to step in it. This is their problem. They think they're going to outsmart everyone in the world. And like you said, you're reading these emails. These guys document everything because they think they'll never get caught. You don't think there's phone calls and text messages from Garland to Hunter Biden's attorney to the White House counsel's office? Just wait till that stuff comes out.
So where does this? So you say that they're going to kick this down the road. So you don't think we're going to see Hunter Biden on a trial, on a witness stand anytime soon? Okay.
No, I mean, like they'll charge him, and then it'll be a couple of months, and then they'll say, "Oh, this is very complex. We might have to call these witnesses." They'll say the same things President Trump has been saying, but they'll give him different treatment. And they'll just say, well, we're not going to interfere with the election process, so we won't try Hunter till after November 2024. But we'll try President Trump every single day until November of 2024, if possible.
So a lot of people in the audience are like, put Hunter Biden in jail, put Joe Biden in jail, so on. Some people on the left are saying now put Donald Trump in jail, right? And so we have a question from our Benny Brigade about the legality of that. And I wouldn't ask this to just anyone who came on the show, but like you would happen to know. This from Sonia Rambo, which is an awesome name. And thank you for being a member of the Benny Brigade, Sonia. Could Donald Trump be put in jail? Would the Secret Service stop it? Would that also apply to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden as protected people?
So what would happen is, I don't think President Trump is ever going to jail. But what would happen is you just get sent to solitary confinement, or you get what we call segregation, where you're just on your own. And that's it. And there would be no differentiation of treatment because of who they are. Now, and you also have to remember, when Hunter Biden gets convicted and sentenced to prison, he's going to get sent to summer camp, right? There's going to be like a rope around the perimeter of the place that you can't like walk over. I mean, these places actually exist. He's going to be a low level, according to the Bureau of Prisons, offender, and they're going to send him there. Now, Donald Trump, they want to treat him like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. They want to send him to the Supermax. Neither of those things are an actual reality in the judicial system. And by the way, I remind you, not that this is going to happen, but people have campaigned for the presidency from prison and gotten votes.
Yes, correct. There's a guy pretty famous. His name's Nelson Mandela. It turns out that people want to vote for the political prisoner, and it's wild. We were in Nashville, and we were doing a man on the street outside of Donald Trump's event in Nashville earlier this week, and it was like, I was asking people if they want if they made Donald Trump a political prisoner, like, would that make you vote for him more? And every person, to a man, including a dude from Rhode Island. A dude from Rhode Island's like, I'm a Democrat, and I will vote for Donald Trump. I voted against Trump twice. I'll vote for him if they put him in prison. This dude's like from Rhode Island's like
from Georgia, when the sheriff's like, hey, we're gonna book Donald Trump and treat him like everybody else. I can't wait for that booking photo. I hope you handcuff him too, because what you're doing is what you're saying, Benny. You're making him a political prisoner. And the only reason they're doing it is because they think they're going to be, and they will be, glorified in the fake news for being like, look at these guys treating Donald Trump like an everyday criminal, booking him and photographing him and handcuffing him. When in reality, America's going to see this and say, wait a second, did you really need to take a booking photo, a mugshot? And did you need to announce it to the world 3 months before it ever happened? And did you, the Georgia prosecutor, need to campaign on the fact that you were going to get Donald Trump? Everyone is starting to see these facts pile up. The New York Times and CNN can't even run enough cover operations to get around it. So they're going to come up with some other charade. Just wait for it. It's coming. Russiagate 4.0 is coming.
So Donald
Trump is orchestrating a coup or some nonsense. It's coming because they need a new news cycle.
I can't name the member of Congress because this conversation was in private and behind the stage at the Trump event in Nashville. But there were a bunch of members of Congress there, and I asked them a series of questions. And I got a game theory for how impeachment's going to go down. And I'd just like to run that by you. And as a final question, get your thought process on it. Since everything we know about the corrupt system actually came from your investigations into Russiagate with Devin Nunes. The idea is that Jim Jordan will take this start his impeachment inquiry when they get back in September. And that impeachment inquiry is going to hit the floor. And that those articles are going to be really tight and really well drummed out, and that they're running out of indictments for Donald Trump to like cover their asses in these news cycles, and that before or around Christmas, potentially right after, that there's going to be a floor vote on impeachment articles against Joe Biden, and that Jim Jordan's going to have enough gravitas to get those over the line, and that they're going to impeach Joe. Nothing is ever set in stone, especially in politics, and has the capacity to switch on a dime. But that's what I'm being told. Cash, your thoughts?
I still think it's the wrong target. And then we talked about it on your show last time. Impeaching Joe Biden for what? Like, I get it. He's lied. He's broken the law. Everyone knows that. This guy can barely stand up during the daytime. Why are we? It's going to be as if the Republican machine is punching at an old white man, which is exactly what you'll do if you impeach him. What we need to do is impeach Garland and Wray for the countless felonies they have committed. Like you just talked about how Garland lied to the world under oath about the communications about Hunter Biden's sweetheart plea deal. Listen, what I tell Donald Trump in private on this line is what I tell everyone in public. One of the critical central platforms to the candidacy must be the two-tier system of justice and its destruction. And that is architected and engineered by Wray and Garland. Now, whether it's Hunter Biden and his laptop, whether it's Joe Biden and his classified emails, whether it's the treatment of Donald Trump, whether it's Jan 6th or Russiagate or classified leaks to the media, all of that is orchestrated by Wray and Garland. And all of that, just like these letters were documented by Hunter Biden's attorney and DOJ, have been documented by the FBI and DOJ. And we have yet to see that material because the FBI has stonewalled the receipts, the request of the receipts from Jordan and Comer and company like that. And they've done nothing in response to it. They keep saying we might hold you in impeachment, but holding Joe Biden in impeachment is a political punch. What the American people want to see is the actual documentation of corruption that exists. You just laid it out in the beginning of your show on one thing. And if you go after Joe Biden, they're going to be like, oh, it's all about the Bidens. It's bigger than the Bidens. It's about saving our justice system. And it goes to whistleblowers. It goes to Catholic institutions and the false prosecution of them. It goes to forcing our kids to learn CRT and gender dynamics. All of those things are documented by the FBI. And we caught Chris Wray lying again on attacking churches and labeling those guys domestic terrorists. He said, oh, it only happened in one field office. Now we found out it happened in 4 field offices. I mean, these are things that the American public, when they're not tuned into your show, who goes into great depth on this, they just don't see it. And that's what the voters need. And we have an impeachment proceeding is the biggest platform in the world, because no matter who you impeach, everyone is going to watch it. Everyone is going to watch it. And I think the political, muster or like will to retaliate for Donald Trump's bogus impeachments, I understand it. But if you want to save this republic, we got to go after the real government gangsters. Joe Biden's done. I don't think he makes it to 24. I don't know about you. They're probably trying to replace him already. They're in the worst position possible. But if we impeach him, we're doing their job for them. They want us to impeach him so they can have him removed. He can pardon his son and they can slip in like Gavin Newsom. So we got to be careful what we ask for. It's just too much of a short-term punch for me, not going after Garland and Wray.
I have a really quick follow-up here because we want to leave people with a vision of the future and what we could have. People need motivation. Yeah, you need a hill to take, right?
Yeah.
In war.
Yeah.
Cash, you're going to be put in charge of the DOJ in Trump term 2. You know it. You don't have to say it. I know you. You don't have to say it. Allow me. Okay? That you'll be in charge of the DOJ. How do you clean it up? And you don't have to presuppose this. I'm asking for a war plan here, right? Like, how do you fix it, man?
I'm going to answer that question. Can I be just disgustingly selfish?
Please.
That's
my man.
Coming in September, baby. Okay. I've never held that book up. I just got it, by the way.
Come on,
baby. I got so look, no, it's a fair question. And that's really what the book is actually about. How do you fix the deep state? That's what it is.
Yeah.
And we talk about stripping away the personnel at the top, the Wrays, the Garlands, the Monacos. Okay, we've got that game plan. Then you put in people who are America First candidates and patriots. We've got those folks too. But it's not just personnel. And Benny, you know this. Whether it's the DOJ, the CIA, the NSA, the DOD, if you want to get rid of wokeness in the military, there's so many problems. Yes, it's personnel. It's not just top tier. It's the undersecretaries, the acting secretaries, the chiefs of staffs, the deputies, all the way down. And we have those positions. We have Americans of the 80 million that voted for Donald Trump. Yeah, we got them. What you need to do, though, is get Congress to budget annually against all of these deep state actors and zero out their billets forever. We need to shrink the size of government. And when we find out, like we are right now, that government gangsters like Wray and Garland have broken the law, we need to prosecute them. That DOJ and FBI must go after the people that set up this institution of criminality and allowed it to flourish under the Biden administration. And most importantly, we have to hunt down the people in the fake news media who made the deep state a reality. Because without them, there is no deep state. There is no glorification of the left and their radical ideologies and the get Trump attitude. And so you need a strong FBI and DOJ, but you do need to go in there with the mindset of, yes, not that you're going to clean house and destroy the FBI and burn it to the ground, but you are going to take out its leadership cadre. You are going to shut down the Hoover building in downtown Washington, D.C. forever and send those 5,000 agents into the field to chase murderers and rapists and drug traffickers and child sex offenders. That's what America wants. You're going to reopen the Hoover building the next day as the mausoleum of the deep state and allow every American to walk its halls for free. So we know what the enshrined entrenchment in D.C. does when it goes unchecked. But unless you have a Congress that is willing to get your back on the executive branch side of things and defund certain platforms and positions and fund special counsels or whatever you want to call them. I hate special counsels, but I'm just using that term because it's generic, to go after classified leaks, to go after the corrupt actors in government. That has to be a priority. I'm not talking about the criminals on the streets. That's a separate problem. But if we don't prioritize the prosecution of the people that created this two-tier system of justice, we will never save it. And I think that's what Donald Trump's running on. He keeps saying, they're after you, I'm just in the way. And he's right. And that's like the central tenet of government gangsters. And there's a story in there about me falling asleep in the Oval Office, but we'll get to that another time.
All right, good. That's the first question next time you're on the show. Government gangsters, ladies and gentlemen. There is the URL. There it is up on screen. You gotta hop. It is now readily available. Correct, Kash?
It is readily available. Hits the shelves in September, but pre-order right now.
Okay.
Destroying the deep state.
Destroying the Deep State. You'll get a signed copy from Kash, governmentgangsters.com. Follow Kash Patel on Truth Social. God bless you, Kash. Godspeed.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.